How many popular trans books can I read in a week? Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a trans man who loves to uplift queer and trans books on my corners of the internet. This week, I am taking you with me to read trans books. I am going to attempt to read popular trans books all week and let you know if they're worth reading or if you should just keep them off your TBR entirely. I am so excited to do this. I did it last year, so I'll have that video linked up above. Besides reading popular books, I love to check things off. So I'm also going to try to check off some prompts from my friend Reese's yearly reading challenge, the Trans Reading Challenge. There are a few prompts that I selected which helped me pick my TBR, so let's go over them. I'll be reading the prompts off my computer and I'll link down below to the Storygraph Challenge if you want to join us. Starting with a general nonfiction book about trans history or trans people. Back in the summer, I received Surviving Transphobia, edited by Laura A. Jacobs from Jessica Kingsley Publishing. They sent me a bunch of goodies for Pride. This book was included in that box. This is an anthology by trans and gender non-binary celebrities and experts on endurance during times of severe hostility. We share the moments when we were vulnerable, bullied, had needs dismissed or discriminated against, revealing our determination and how we have sometimes managed to survive. We relate on thoughts on the current well-funded campaign threatening our very existence. We also speak to our allies, those nearer, or even those with less communication, or even those with less direct connection to trans and non-binary people, but who are eager to understand and support our vulnerable community. This is interesting. I hope that it has joy and maybe some resources of like how people overcame certain situations. This sounds like something I'll relate to. Next is to read a book by a BIPOC trans author with a BIPOC trans character. I'm finally going to get to Bitter by Kweke Emezi. I loved Pet when I read it, so I'm definitely going to try to read Bitter. A book with a trans man main character. I'm finally going to read Paige Powers. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is And They Were Roommates. It is about a trans man who I believe is a boarding school roommate to somebody that he knew in his past who doesn't recognize him because he has transitioned. I love that. I am so excited to read this. I know it's very popular. I cannot believe I haven't gotten to Paige's books yet, especially because he has a hockey romance coming out soon, which I'm so excited about. I knew I had to include this in this video. And last is to read a book with a trans woman main character. I'll be reading Woodworking by Emily St. James. I've heard nothing but great things about this. I am so excited for this TBR, so let's get reading. It's Monday, it's raining, and I have a sleepy cat on my bed. I just finished up doing some content work, and this morning I started Homebody. Now, I am switching things up early with my nonfiction. I was going to tackle Surviving Transphobia, but I looked into it and I just don't think I'm in the headspace for it. So instead, I am going to read for the prompt to read a memoir by a trans person. This is a graphic memoir and I am about 70% in. It's really light. It's not what I was expecting. It's honestly very euphoric. It has had me reminiscing about when I first came out and things like that. I have some similar experiences to Theo. It's very liberating, so I like to read that. I am very critical when it comes to memoirs. For myself personally, if I'm reading a trans memoir, I want it to be light. I don't want to be triggered. I've been triggered by many memoirs because they can just be very graphic, and sometimes I feel that they're not written for trans people to read, but for cis people to read. So this to me is just light. I think it could be for trans people and cis people, but as a trans person, you might relate to this more. I'm going to keep reading it and I will come back with my final thoughts. Hello, it is actually Thursday. I have not been reading for this video, but I did finish Homebody when I last talked to you, so I thought I would do a quick review. I really enjoyed this. I was hesitant to pick it up, as I am for many trans memoirs, but this was very light. I loved the illustrations and the color scheme. I don't know how to articulate what they looked like, but it felt like watercolor. I don't think it was, but it was a really unique choice. In contrast to the purple, there were some trans colors, the blue and the pink. I don't really have too much more to say that I haven't already said, but I would say if you've been wanting to get into this, but you're like me and you try to avoid trans memoirs because they can be really intense, this definitely was written with trans people in mind, but I would say that cis people can also get something out of it. It is a non-binary trans masked person's experience. I enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that trans teens get to read books like these. However, if these books start to get banned, there is currently a ban in place. It hasn't been set yet, but there is a bill to ban books with transgender subjects and topics. Even if there is a non-binary character in this situation, this book would be banned. I'm sure it has been challenged. It is so frustrating, so I'll try to have some information down below. Maybe there's a petition that you can sign, but I've been seeing people say, call your representatives. It's so frustrating because trans kids get so much available to them resource-wise and book-wise that this type of book would help a kid who might feel the same as Theo. And the fact that they would be stripped of this book infuriates me to no end. I was born in 1994, I was in high school in the 2010s, and I did not have these resources. I didn't learn I was trans until later in my 20s. So be able to have books like this, it is truly a disservice to trans kids to strip them of that. So like I said, I'll try to have some information down below. Hello, I figured that I would update you because it is now Monday. It's been a full week and I haven't finished the other book I am reading, and they were roommates. I am obsessed. I wish I had more time to read it. I am going to finish it for you and review it so that I don't just have one book to review in this video, but I guess that means that I really can't read that much in a week. I did have a busy week. I was reading another book for a commitment that I had that is already up. I read a book by a non-binary author, so that was also still a popular book, but it wasn't on my TBR for this video. I will link the video down below. This is such a messy book. I am loving it so much. Honestly, this is kind of giving She's the Man, and I'm loving this. So we have Charlie, who just enrolled in St. Valentine Academy. This is an all-boys boarding school, and he ends up roomed with his ex-boyfriend. But this person only knows him from when he was presenting as a girl, not his new identity as a trans boy. I am just so obsessed with this. I love how romantic it is, in the sense that like it just is hitting on so many things. It's not just this story where we have a Valentine school that loves romance and love, but there are so many layers to this book. Honestly, I don't want to spoil it, so I don't know what I can say, but I'll try to do my best. So Charlie was supposed to have a single room. That didn't happen. He finds out he has a roommate, and it's Jasper, a boy that he dated when they were at summer camp 2 years ago. But because Jasper knew him as a girl, he doesn't recognize him at all. It is so fun to read. I love this. I also just love being in the mind of a trans guy. As a fellow trans guy, I just relate to it so much. It's just so relatable, but I also love him just learning masculine things that he didn't know. This is just so comforting. I love it. I just love a messy character too. Messy trans people, oh, I love that. This is just so messy and fun. I just got to a part where, oh, let me check if this is a spoiler or not. Okay, so this is not a spoiler, it is in the synopsis. Charlie finds out that there is a secret club going on. There is shenanigans that the school doesn't know about. There's like this underground scheme of students who write love letters. So at this boarding school, you can't have your phone, you don't really have access to the internet. They do have a sister school on like the other side, but you can only communicate after winter break. They give you your phone and everything back after winter break. So that is a long time. They don't really have much communication. So there's a group of students who started a love letter brigade. Honestly, it's kind of reminding me of Gilmore Girls a little bit. But we have a group of people who write love letters. Jasper in particular, who is like a pretentious poetry writing guy. Oh my god. He is definitely very unlikable, but I love that. You know, not every character needs to be likable in books, and I think that more people need to recognize that. So Jasper needs help and he enlists Charlie. They have a deal that if Charlie helps with the love letter writing, he will tell his aunt, who is the principal, that they want separate rooms. That probably isn't going to happen because something will probably derail it. This is a second chance romance, so we'll see. I am not a big fan of second chance romances unless it's done right. The only second chance romance I enjoyed was by TJ Alexander, and that was trans, so I might like this, but we'll see. I just love how messy this is. Just that Charlie hates Jasper so much because of their breakup, but Jasper just has no idea why. It's so funny because he's like, why do you hate me? Like, why are you so mean to me? Oh my god, it is hilarious. It's amazing. I'm having such a good time.
The next day.
Hello, I am 52% into this book. I told you I would update you at 50%. I honestly don't have a lot to update on because it's all spoilers now. I'm just really interested to see where this goes. I am at the 50% mark, so we have some things that are heating up. There are things that Charlie is kind of reflecting on, but he's also learning a lot about Jasper through people he knows and friends. He's just trying to get to the bottom of what Jasper's motives are. His aunt is the principal, and so we're kind of learning about the special treatment that he's getting. That's the least spoiler way I could put it. I'm just really intrigued to know how this is going to go. It feels like the type of book that I just need to finish, and then I'll have more thoughts. If something wild happens, I will record my reaction. I'm so glad I'm enjoying this. I am gonna get back to it, and I will see you once there's an update or I finish reading. Why would you? Why? Oh my god, emotions. I'm crying. I was crying, I was screaming, I was enamored. I think I found my favorite book of the year. This is my best book of the year. It's actually my first best book of the year. I'm so shocked. I am so obsessed. I literally could read all of Page's back work now. This is his sophomore novel. I can't believe I haven't read from him before. I have been sleeping on him truly. Oh my god. This was everything to me. This was so good. Let me compose myself, get together some thoughts, and I'll give you a proper review. The angst, the grumpiness, the anxiety. This was a me book. Not everybody's going to enjoy this, but I'm glad that I did. I just had so much fun reading this. When I read messy trans boys, it just speaks to me. Also, just like reading books where I feel represented has such a nice feeling. This was such a light book. It does not have transphobia at the forefront. We have a supportive cast. There's no ill intentions, no malice. I love that. I hate reading trans books where I know that that's going to be a jump scare for me. I thought that that was going to happen here, and I'm just so glad that it didn't. And yes, it is probably not realistic, especially when you have an all-boys school, but for the most part, we didn't have the misogyny, sexism, and transphobia. No homophobia at all. We just have boys chilling with each other and messing up. I will never understand people that don't like messy characters, especially when they are from a marginalized group. In this instance, if they're queer or trans, it just speaks to me. I have so much fun reading books where trans characters are messing up. They are having me yell at them through my e-reader. The character development was good. I liked the characters in general. Since this is a boarding school, we have many characters, but we focus on about 4 or 5. I will say my only critique is I wish that the friendship between Charlie and his best friend Delilah had more screen time, because there are some things that they talk about but it gets resolved very easily, and I think they could have had bigger conversations, especially because Delilah is having some feelings about Charlie where she feels that he is not being the best friend that he could be. So I wish they would have had some more conversations. This was more focused on Jasper and Charlie. I love a good forced proximity, especially when we have enemies. Charlie hates Jasper's guts because of what happened at summer camp 2 years ago. I loved the unraveling of Jasper finding out why Charlie was at the school and him just doing the mental math of trying to figure out who Charlie is. This was just such a silly book. It was not a scary book. And I say that because there could be times where things happen. This is a scary scenario for any trans person. Being stealth is very difficult and very privileged. Being in the mind of Charlie, you see this anxiety that I have also experienced where you feel safe, but you know that anything could happen at any moment. That is such a scary thing for any trans person to go through, let alone a child. But this was just such a fun book. I loved the characters. I loved seeing Charlie befriend other guys. That's definitely a hard thing to do as a trans guy because you just never know what they're gonna be like, honestly. This reminded me a lot of my time in college. I do love a boarding school book. I love a forced proximity between enemies, especially when the enemies to lovers is one-sided. In this case, I liked that. Sometimes enemies to lovers, I wish it was on both sides, but I do love a character who is just like, I don't know why you hate me. If it's done right, and it was done right here. I have never really read books about roommates, but now I want to read more. This just had me wanting to read more of Page's backlog. He doesn't have too much of that. I think the only thing I have to read is his debut. But like I said, in August, he has that hockey book coming out I'm so excited about. So I will be reading that probably immediately. That might be like the first book that I read in August if I am able to get a copy of it. I just loved this. It made me feel so good. It is very messy. It's not for everybody. We have an unlikable character in Jasper. He's very pretentious. He loves poetry. He's always talking about Shakespeare, and he just thinks that he's the best writer ever. Honestly, he's a relatable character. If you knew somebody like him in high school, I think it will be relatable, but not everybody's going to like him. I'll reiterate what I've already said in this video because it's so true. Not every character you read is going to be likable, and I think that that makes a book better. I see a lot when people review queer and trans books that if it does not have a perfect character, they are deemed unworthy and they're going to rate it lower than they would a cishet book. I just love messy characters in YA because it's realistic. There are so many things that keep happening. Charlie is lying through his teeth, but he thinks it is the right thing. In the back of his head, he knows that he shouldn't be doing that. I think that is so realistic. I'm probably rambling, but I just loved this so much. I had so much fun reading it. If you want a book like She's the Man, I highly recommend this. I have seen people wanting a trans She's the Man retelling, and that is not this, but it has similar vibes. I adored this. It was so much fun to read. We also have a love letter brigade going on. We have a group of boys who are delivering letters to the sister school. This is an academic school with a lot of rules. It is separating the boys and girls. They cannot even have contact with each other. So this brigade has a system where they write love letters and they send them over to the sister school. There is a whole plot line there. It is super messy and action-packed, very fun. If you just want to read about a trans boy existing, fucking up, and getting to befriend other guys, and honestly just like coexist with other guys, I highly recommend this. It was fantastic, and I will be going on a Page Powers binge read sometime in the future. Hopefully in the next couple weeks or whenever I get a chance to read something, you might see it pop up in another vlog. So do I think these books are worth the hype? Yes. Let's do a little reading recap. I read the graphic memoir Homebody by Theo Parrish. I liked this a lot. I had a good experience reading it. I thought it was light and joyful. And of course I read And They Were Roommates by Page Powers. Yes, yes, yes. But a caveat, not everybody's going to like this, but if you like the things that I've already mentioned, I think that this is a winner. I really enjoyed these. I will try to do another video like this soon because I didn't get to read everything that I wanted to. So stay tuned for July when I'll do a similar video like this. But that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want more queer and trans book recommendations and reading vlogs where I read queer and trans books, hit subscribe. It's free. And if you would like to support me, I am over on Bindery. Bindery is the best way to support me at the moment. If I get enough subscribers, I will be able to launch my own imprint where I publish trans books. I want to do that so bad, so if you could help me, I would appreciate it. Become a free or paid member and you will have access to my private Discord, my weekly newsletters, exclusive content. In Discord, I run a monthly book club. It is based on themes, and I am hosting another weekend readathon. I am so excited to do that. So if you're looking for queer folks in the bookish community to meet more people and interact, Discord is the best way. Like I said, just become a free or paid member. The link to Bindery is down below. Thank you to my top members on Patreon and Bindery for your support. I appreciate you. And if you'd like to watch more, YouTube suggests this video and you can subscribe there. Bye.